Hey, babe. Don't forget we gotta get ready in 2 hours for that event, okay?
I got so much to do. How am I ever gonna get this done?
Jay, so do we need to cancel? What are you wearing? It's game night.
Okay. You ready?
Yep.
All right, everyone. This is another. What are we calling this?
Episode Q&J.
Okay, so it's another episode of Q&J.
Yes.
Too many names. Too many names.
I know,
we have.
dude. I know.
And we try to keep everyone involved. So we wanted to do another segment for you guys because the influx of questions come in. And it's kind of nice because I wanted to put Dave in here because of he gets a lot of the questions that I might miss because I don't read every comment, and you obviously do. So the first question is going to be of this week's Q&A is going to be if you could be a superhero, which one would you be?
That's a good question.
Yeah. I get that, actually. That's been a big question for me. So I think for me, I was a huge fan of He-Man, actually. Remember the He-Man cartoons? I used to watch those as a kid. I mean, of
Dolph
course...
Lundgren played that in the real movie.
Okay, see, I didn't see... I used to watch the cartoon, and of course Capone wants attention. He's always like, hey, what superhero would I be? Listen, I was a Batman fan, I was a Superman fan, but I think He-Man was the first real muscular
He was jacked.
Cartoon character that I kind of saw. I used to watch on Saturday mornings, He-Man, and he had the special powers and all that. So I think I would consider him a superhero. Would you?
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
not Marvel or DC, but still. Yeah.
But I didn't really as far as the other characters. I mean, I was a Superman movie fan when I was a kid. Not so much Spider-Man as much.
Yeah, me either.
And some of these new ones, but so that would be definitely that one. Ideal rep range to build size. Now this is a good question because sit. This is a good question because there's a lot of different variations that I believe you can train certain styles. You and I both train on different styles. You're more time under tension, slow, more controlled movements, where I was kind of a ballistic trainer. But I seem to always fall between 8 to 12 repetitions, and I know that's a broad rep range. And I always say you should start to feel a burn around 8 repetitions. I don't think going to failure because of my training style. I train a lot of volume, so I prefer to do set after set after set with less rest time between, where you might take a little more rest time, right?
Well, if it depends how many people train, but if it's just me and my training partner, it's about a minute 50 seconds.
Yeah, see, I would only rest 45 seconds, a minute fast, or a minute most, okay? Yeah. So with me, it was more ballistic training. You know how, and a lot of people question my form. It still works. I mean, we shot a shoulder video yesterday. You saw I'm still doing the side laterals, kind of like ballistic. But I feel 8 to 12 reps is sufficient for bodybuilding, and that's to continue to... Remember, the time set after set is going to expand the muscle tissue. It's going to stretch the fibers, break down certain muscle fibers depending if they're fast or slow twitch fibers. And there's certain, you can get really into detail, but there's certain muscle fibers that demand a certain amount of stress. And I think for us, I think you train around the same rep range.
8 to 12.
8 to 12. So seems to be the spot that for everyone that kind of trains. But if you're a power lifter or whatever, not to say you can't grow off 1 or 2 or 3 reps. I mean, I used to do deadlifts and I would do 6 repetitions for the heavy sets, but I don't really go to failure, and I don't train lower than usually 8 repetitions with stuff, okay? Great diet question. Brown rice versus white rice. What's the difference? Someone like me, I've tried both. I hate brown rice.
Why?
I just think it doesn't taste as good, but it also wrecks my stomach because I think there's a little more too much fiber in it comparable to white rice when I eat the amounts that I eat. I'm a huge white rice advocate. I don't eat much else for carbohydrates other than rice for some reason. And don't ask me why. It's just preference. I think potatoes are great. I think sweet potatoes are great. I think pasta is good when you're trying to put on size. But I don't have a lot of variation in my diet. It's very bland and very repetitive. But I prefer long grain white rice. I have my rice cooker. I cook it at the beginning of the day. I have it and I just scoop it out for each meal. I probably eat about a cup of rice now, pretty much every meal. I don't cut carbohydrates, but when I was dieting for shows, 2 cups of rice was usually my normal intake, almost 100 grams of carbohydrates, but always white rice. Not to say you can't eat brown rice. Some people say it's much better, more slow digesting, but I don't know how much that's necessarily true. Okay, and I'll touch a little bit on that too, is like whey protein versus whey isolate protein, and then you've got casein protein. I don't switch my proteins around much. I only launched an isolate protein under my brand because I wanted a more quality brand. The blends definitely are cheaper to make, and there's definitely a little higher sugars and carbohydrates in them. But I stick to more of an isolate because it's a better quality. But does your body really know the difference? That's the big question. We've used both.
Well, I think the trick is if you eat your meals on time, there's always free-form amino acid throughout the body, so it's not so important anymore because there's always protein in the system, right? So
you sold protein, so you've been in the business even selling products longer than I've been probably almost endorsing them or the same amount of time. And
98.
You would have people come in and they'd say, what kind of protein do I purchase?
ISO was the purest. The fastest, but also the purest.
But more expensive, right?
More expensive, of course. Yeah.
But some people like the blends. Like I love meal replacement proteins. Like I used to love the packets of Metrics and
But the Pro M3 from ISS was really good. You liked that too back in the day.
So that was kind of a mixture. That had some casein in it.
Yeah.
It had egg protein in it. So it's kind of a blend.
Yeah. As long as you eat on time, I think you're pretty safe.
And I think with protein, guys, I only used it right after training or first thing in the morning. I wasn't a huge, hey, this is going to be a meal replacement. Although I see you now, you're using shakes and carbohydrates together if you just on a time restrain or
I'm traveling.
Yeah, you're traveling. So that's just kind of off topic, but I mean there's a difference to some people and definitely digestible to certain people. I know people that can't even drink whey protein; they're drinking vegan protein now. So, what kind of music do you listen to while you train?
That's a good one.
Hip hop music.
Always
In the car, always whatever. But to be honest, I don't listen to a lot of music when I train.
No.
And when I used to train in the gyms, and you can attest to this. I never heard the music. I never heard what was playing. I remember people used to be training with me like, do you hear the music? And I'm like, no, I don't hear anything because I'm so focused in the training that I don't really have my mind in things. And you don't train with a headset now.
No.
Because, if you train with partners, like there's certain, okay, 1 more, 2 more. Like I think that a lot of people that wear headsets on our level, I wonder if some of them even listen to music or not. I'm wondering if there's even anything playing in those headsets.
Know. Maybe do that just so people don't talk to them.
Yeah. So they wear the big bulky headsets or whatever.
It disconnects you from the workout, I think, a little bit.
But if I did listen to music, it would definitely be hip hop. Yeah. I read somewhere that you used to eat a whole cow. Did you really eat a whole cow? Yes. I used to buy a whole cow at the butcher shop. When I lived in Massachusetts, there was a butcher, and he was local there, and I would actually go over to the butcher shop. I'd see the cow hanging, and I'd say, I want hamburger out of this, I want steaks out of this. And I would pack my freezer full. I would buy a whole cow at a time.
How much was that?
I think about $1,000.
You would pay $1,000 in advance?
Yeah.
Well, you were busted then?
Well, I mean, it lasted me 6 months.
Okay.
But I would freeze it and I'd have it. I'd take out like 2 or 3 pounds every day, and I would eat that way.
Wow.
But I would have it all ground down, and it was fresh. I think that was probably the best meat I ever ate. Maybe that's why I progressed so quick.
Yeah.
But that was back in Massachusetts. When I lived in the Paxton, Rutland, I actually lived in Spencer. So if you guys are from that area, you know.
Is he still there, the butcher? Do you know?
I'm sure he is.
We should go.
I'm sure he
one
is.
of these days.
Yeah. So I used to pick it all up. I used to go load up the trunk of the car and pack in the freezer. It was pretty cool, man. I miss those days.
They make great videos.
The food is definitely better than the supermarkets you buy from. And I also had a guy named Adam's Rib, and he used to do the same kind of thing. He was like a local butcher. I didn't actually buy the cow then, but I would go and buy a ton of meat. Matt used to go to him also.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Matt used to get all his, because we used to get the hamburger ground so lean.
Wow.
Because we were eating hamburger like 4 times a day.
Wow.
I was eating red meat 4 times a day. I've always done that. Even today with Trifecta, I eat a lot of bison and red meat.
That's how you get things.
I think red meat and chicken are very similar. If it's lean,
yeah,
they have about the same amount of fats, to be honest.
Yeah.
Will I attend Athleticon? It's a question you've got.
Everybody wants to know. Yeah.
We haven't decided yet, but if we do it, I'm sure we'll be together. I'm sure he'll come to film things. But as you know, today I don't compete, so I don't know what the interest is. We'll see what happens with that event. It is in Atlanta, Georgia I think it's in October.
It's right after the Olympia, yeah.
Okay, so it's
October, I think.
Yeah. I think it's a month after the Olympia.
How do you think that's going to help? How do you think it's going to change things?
I don't think it's going to change anything. I think the Olympia is still the king.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the prize money is. I don't know who's competing. It's an invitation-only show, so... Yeah. I don't know who's getting invited. I think it's going to roll out to, who's did well in the shows this year.
Yeah.
We have the Arnold coming up this weekend. So we'll see how it actually rolls out. Yeah. But I think that, having Dwayne Johnson involved and...
It's good, right?
Yeah, I think it's always good to have another show that is going to pay more than, 20 grand to the winner. I think it's going to pay more than 20,000 to the men's bodybuilding side. Why did you become a bodybuilder and what age did you start? Good question. I started at 18, and I actually started competing because I was cleaning the gym for a gym membership at the time. When I joined the gym, I paid the fee, but I was cleaning the gym, doing on Monday nights or a couple nights a week, and the owner actually said to me, "Hey, there's a bodybuilding show, and I'll give you a free gym membership." So Andy Stratus, if you're watching this, you coaxed me into competing for the first time, and I fell in love with it, and that was about the end of it. That was about, I think it was within the first year of training, 8 months after I started training or whatever.
Who showed you posing and all that stuff?
I had a local guy that helped me, actually, that helped me with the posing and put together a routine. To Peter Gabriel, used Big Time, the song Big Time, and I posed to that. It was at a Greek church in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Were you nervous?
Oh, yeah. And I put the tan on and whatever, and then I was bitten by the bug, and then I met Chris Aceto shortly after that.
Yeah.
And he helped me with get ready for a qualifying show for the Teen Nationals, and then I did Teen Nationals against Branch Warren, and the rest is history. Met Ed Connors and Irv Gelb and Joe Weider and.
Let me ask you something. I know you're fine being retired now, and you kind of just like moved on mentally from the whole aspect. But is there anything you missed about either prepping or competing?
I miss the prepping structure. So I miss I'm eating 6 meals or 7 meals. I'm getting up at a certain time. I'm doing the cardio. I'm seeing the transition of my body change, right? Even though I'm doing like a mini transformation now, I saw changes in my physique all the time. But the hype leading up was what ended up really taxing on me. Because as I got more popular, the expectations became more and more and more, and sometimes you can't fulfill those expectations because your body peaks out, right? Yeah. So for me, I was an overachiever, and I always liked to do extra things. So if I heard of a guy doing cardio 2 hours, I was like, okay, well, I'll do 3 because no one else can do that. But I miss the lights, I miss the fans, I miss the excitement, but I also miss the build up. And then it was when that show was over, my life went back to normal, and I was so successful through most of my career that it was I was on a high horse, man, I'm the king again, you know what I mean? And it seemed like I would either be in second, first, winning Arnold's, then of course winning the Mr. Olympia and being right there. I always had that success factor with me, and I loved. We talked about going to photo shoot in California. Yeah. Shooting for Chris Lunn and seeing the excitement on his face Flex magazine. Yeah. And I always I look back now and I try to, even going to Gold's Venice, I talked about, I used to come out after the Olympia was over, and it was such a downtime for me, and I was rebounding back, and you're watching your body go from, the 260s to 280 in great condition, and you're oh my God, I still look crazy, even I'm 20 pounds bigger and I'm fuller. And I actually had something when I was in the gym training last night. I said, man, this makes me want to train. And I think we kind of go through those phases. I honestly haven't had that since I competed.
Really?
I haven't had that mindset of like, man, I missed this. And when I went to the gym yesterday...
That's why I'm asking you that today, because yesterday when we were training at the factory, we filmed, you were like, wow, isn't this place great?
But that's how I felt the last week.
Yeah.
Is I felt like, man, I'm really, it's really like coming back to me. Like I'm enjoying this process. Like, and I'll be honest, like I haven't got a shoulder pump in years like I've been getting the last 2 workouts. So for me, like I'm like, okay, I'm not on a gang of shit or anything. It's just like, I'm just feeling this right now. So for me, I'm enjoying the process again at 46.
But I also remember when you prepped in 13 for your comeback, it took you a while to kind of get in that groove at the beginning, to get back that rhythm. And towards the end, you were like, I'm in it now. So I think if you had a little bit more time, I think it would have been so much better. But because you were really getting into the whole thing at the end, I remember you saying that. Yeah.
And if the business didn't take over, I would have continued. I probably would have tried to compete again. Yeah. Lastly, what supplements do I take?
Prevail.
Yeah, I take pre-workouts, both stim-free and non-stim. I take protein here and there. I use aminos here and there. I use my cognition, which is a mental alertness, more of a focused pill. What else do I take?
Vitamins?
I take vitamins, my Safeguard. I took some niacin this morning. I take vitamin C. I don't take any fats. I don't take any essential fats. I don't take any kind of like the milk thistles or anything like that because I'm not cycling really. So that's really about it. I think. I don't use any sleep supplements. Like I sleep really well at night. I am testing some post-workout products right now. Oh, yeah? I'm working on that. Yeah, it's a little bit of a carbohydrate mixture because I think that's really the window. And then you people that train, like intra-workout is really a great time to take products. Do you drink on the aminos while you train, or you take it after?
During/after.
Okay.
The EAA, yeah.
And I think, I eat enough food, so like I just had a 100-gram protein breakfast and a ton of carbs, and if I want to go train now, which I'll probably do, like I think I have enough food where I don't drink aminos while I train. But for you guys that are on more of a depleted program, I think that's necessary. And if you're a full-time bodybuilder like him, I think that's necessary.
Do you want to come up with any more, like with your brand, how do you decide if you're going to come up with more new product and why, how do you choose the product?
I choose by people bringing up to me like, hey, we want this, or I think back to what I actually used. And post-workout recovery was super important for me.
Yeah.
So that has always been on the burner. But the problem is this, is I had to start off with the products that I knew would be able to sell in order to finance the company.
Most popular first.
And today, I'm fighting what I knew 10 years ago. Everything's advanced that much more. So the ingredients that you see in my products is way more advanced than even 5 years ago. So where I did a former brand with another partner, and now this is totally, my own thing, it's, now I have 100% say in what I do, and I know what I used and what I think I can sell, right? And what's beneficial mostly for the consumer on every level. And we have a lot of when I went to John last weekend, Max Muscle Plastical carries my product. He said, Jay, your Prevail is super popular with the women because there's no beta alanine.
Yes.
And that's one thing I hated. I gave you a drink yesterday. Aaron sent us some
feel itchy.
some Total War, the RTDs, which are very good, by the way. Aaron, shout out to you, Redcon 1.
Yeah.
But they make me tingle.
Yeah.
And you were like, I'm starting to feel it. And you said, why do they put this? I said, because it heats you up a little bit. And some people like that feeling, but for me, I don't want to feel the tingle. Yeah. So I did not include any beta alanine in my products.
So you've had to, since you started this, you've had to really educate yourself a lot more on all that stuff, because you didn't know that much about supplements back then. You seem to be a lot more keen on all that.
Yeah, but listen, I took pump products when I was with Muscle Tech, and we used a lot of different types of products, but I was still old school, I want to take L-carnitine to burn fat. Yeah. Which now I'm gonna launch an L-carnitine supplement. I'm launching the smaller. Yeah, I want to launch a milk thistle because I did take that when I was, training heavy duty, and I'd like to launch vitamin C's and all that stuff under the brand so people at least have it. You know what the number one product people ask me if I carry? Creatine. Straight creatine product. And I think, do you remember, I used to be on a contract with ISS, which became, they used to have an effervescent creatine, which were these
Yes.
packs, and you would mix it, it would fizz
Fizz.
out.
Yeah.
Those are pretty good. So like that kind of product, I think would be really good in the line.
People still use it today.
I think creatine is an awesome product. So if you guys aren't using creatine, you're trying to put on muscle or put on size, don't be afraid to take the creatine. Don't listen to if you overtake it, obviously it can cause some kidney havoc on your tests or whatever. But creatine's great for putting on size.
Yeah.
I mean, you do get natural creatine in red meat. So,
Yeah.
there's a lot of different supplements out there, but stay tuned for some more information on that. I know a lot of people are asking, hey, go over your supplement line or whatever. I think it's better to throw it in each one that we do and talk a little bit about it because each product is different for each person. And I was saying with Dave last night, the stats that I have are the comparison side by side on what's selling, like flavor-wise versus what products. It's amazing because like 1 month it will be one product, a certain flavor, and the next month it will be a different product with a certain flavor. It's like
How do you explain that?
I think the advertisement.
I think so. The commercial has been
Yeah,
helping
I
a
mean
lot.
the Sour Series has done really well for us, and
We
just shot a Cognition commercial, which you guys will see on the media, which I
Yeah.
think is pretty cool. So, listen, always appreciate you guys following along. We're gonna get to the gym. I know Dave's got kind of one of our surprise people that we're gonna show coming up on the channel. So, you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe now. Make sure you like this video, and please hit us with your questions right below. If you guys want to see and have your question answered on the next Q&J, make sure you guys comment below, and I always appreciate the support. So next time.